Okay, well, we're working through some technical difficulties. But first of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Jeff Ewing, the Managing Director of Chevron in our Eastern Mediterranean Business Unit. I'm based here in Israel. I've been here about 2 years, and I'm loving living here in Israel and exploring the country. And I also am excited about being able to represent Chevron and our partners on all the good things that we're doing to help the economic prosperity here in Israel, the energy security, and also improving the environment. So I'll talk about that in my presentation. So as we go forward, I'll just go ahead with the presentation. Chevron as a company was founded 144 years ago, and we have operations in the upstream in over 22 countries around the world. And we have over 40,000 employees in all the sectors for Chevron, both in upstream, downstream, and midstream. And Chevron got here in Israel in 2020 when we did the acquisition of the Noble Energy, which was, Noble Energy had been here since 1988. So we're very proud of what they had done in the past, and we're busy trying to continue their legacy. And Chevron is the operator, as you've heard, of the Leviathan and Tamar platforms, and we have some great partners in both of those assets that really help us move forward with those assets. So I'll talk a little bit about what Chevron believes in. Chevron believes in a balanced energy framework. You need affordable energy for your customers and the countries to drive an economic prosperity. You need reliable and diverse supplies of energy to make sure you have energy security in the country. And you also need lower carbon, ever cleaner energy to make sure that you protect the environment. And I would say here in Israel, you have all three of those. You have affordable energy from the gas that you have coming in. You have reliable energy from all the different sources of gas you have. And here in Israel, this is Chevron's lowest emissions of any of our upstream operations in the world. So you have very good environmental protection. So a little bit on what Chevron's focused on. We're focused on safely delivering higher returns and lower carbon. And we understand that we need to deliver returns for our shareholders, but we also have to look at lowering our carbon impact in the environment. So for Chevron, on the higher returns, we have a very advantaged portfolio. We have great assets around the world, just like the Leviathan and Tamar assets here in Israel. Great assets, world class. We also have lots of opportunities to spend our capital, so we need to make sure that we're picking the best opportunities so each investment delivers the best returns for our shareholders. And we're actually going to grow our traditional energy. Some of the other companies are backing off on their traditional energy, but we see the needs for the long term to continue growing the oil and gas industry. And we have some great opportunities here in Israel that I'll talk about to grow the gas industry here in Israel. On the lower carbon side, we're focused on reducing the carbon of our existing assets and our existing operations by reducing flaring, putting in place different technologies to reduce the emissions. And we also aim to be a leader in reducing methane emissions in the world. And we're looking at lowering the carbon by two main new technologies, growing our renewable fuels business, and then also making investments in new technologies to drive carbon capture, utilization, and storage, and then also utilizing hydrogen. So what we're looking at is looking for new energies to replace some of the existing energy supplies. So what Chevron's doing is advancing our lower carbon future by spending over $10 billion between now and 2028 in lowering the carbon intensity of our existing operations, and then also increasing the renewables and the offsets to run our business. We're not going to get into the solar business as Chevron. We think there's other companies that can do that better, but we'll utilize those types of resources to lower the carbon intensity of our business. But we are going to invest in new low-carbon technologies to drive lower carbon businesses like hydrogen, carbon capture, utilization, and storage, and renewable energies. And we're busy investing in those areas as a company. So I'll go ahead and get into some details on our business here in Israel. As we said, we've been here for over 20 years. We have a large resource base with over 40 TCF of discovered resource, and we produce over 2 BCF a day from our assets. As you know, Israel is a net exporter of gas, and about 70% of the power generated in Israel is from natural gas. We have 40 customers, which I'll get into more detail, which includes both customers in Egypt, Israel, and Jordan. And our office is based here in Herzliya, and we have 415 employees. The Tamar field, as you see, is number 1, was discovered in 2009 and on production in 2013. It can produce about 1.1 BCF per day. The Leviathan field was discovered in 2011, was put on first gas production in 2019, and we had to have a place to sell our gas, so that's why it took longer to put that on production. We can produce 1.2 BCF a day from that field, and the other things that we're pointing out here are important pipelines that enable us to export gas to both Egypt and Jordan. So the number 3 there is the EMG pipeline that allows gas going directly from Israel's grid to Egypt. And then also number 4 is the Fajr pipeline that brings gas from the north all the way through Jordan, gives gas to Jordan, and then also exports gas to Egypt through that pipeline. Some projects that we have opportunities for, we can expand our production in both the Tamar field and the Leviathan field. The first one is the Tamar optimization project by putting in a new flow line in the field and doing some upgrades on the production platform and on our shore base. We can get up to about 1.6 BCF a day. There's a couple of pipelines that are going to be important to be able to increase our exports. That's the Fajr Plus pipeline, which we would add compression and be able to send more gas through Jordan down to Egypt. And then the Nitzana pipeline, which the minister talked about, is a pipeline agreement between Israel and Egypt to be able to increase the flow of gas to Egypt from Israel. And so that pipeline project is being discussed now to move forward. From the Leviathan field, we have great opportunities to expand the production there. We're going to drill a couple of new wells, increase some flow lines, and do some work on the platform, and we can get up to about 2.1 BCF a day production, so almost 90% increase. And so what we're looking at is how do we sell this gas? Well, there's different options, and the one option that we're really looking hard at is with a floating LNG facility where we would tie our gas production from Leviathan to the floating LNG facility where we can liquefy it and then sell it to markets in Europe or anywhere around the world. So that's what we're currently have a team looking at that. Our customers are broad-based in Israel. IEC is our biggest customer, but we also sell a lot of gas to the independent power producers. And in Jordan, most of our gas is sold to the power producer there, and we provide gas to produce about 70% of Jordan's electricity. And then in Egypt, we sell to one customer that it's in about 10% of the total gas market for Egypt, and they supply it to the grid there in Egypt. So there's some great benefits from natural gas for the Israeli public. The air quality has been improved by taking the coal away from the power plants and using natural gas. We're building partnerships across the border, as you heard from the minister. Great relationships with Egypt. The relationships with Jordan is strong. We're also looking at, we have energy security here in Israel now, which has been very big in the last year or so, as you saw what happened in Europe. And we're also able to contribute to the economy by having a relatively low gas price compared to other places. So Israel producers or businesses are at a competitive advantage there. And it is a great source of government revenue. We pay royalties and taxes that generate a lot of revenue for the government. I'll briefly touch on this. On the air quality, it's improved significantly with the reduction of coal in the power plants. It's gone from 70% use of coal down to 30%. And if you look at the air quality, the SOx reduction has gone down 84%, and the NOx reduction has been 67% because of using natural gas. So I'll end with this one. You know, natural gas has really contributed to the prosperity of Israel. There's been about $12 billion worth of local content invested in the natural gas industry. There's been more than 15 billion shekels in taxes and royalties paid by middle of 2021, but there's been significant taxes and royalties in 2022. We have a strong domestic workforce that's growing, and we're also able to transition. The transition of gas has really saved Israel lots of money in utilizing energy. It's estimated here that by 2020, Israel has saved over 70 billion shekels in direct fuel costs. And if you look at 2021 and 2022, it would be significantly more than that with the high price of fuel in other places in the world. So with that, I just want to say, you know, as Chevron and our partners, we're proud to be able to help Israel improve the economic prosperity, make sure there's energy security for the country, and then also continue to improve the environment here. So thank you very much for your time.